Joining us now is the Communications Director for America's Frontline Doctors, John Strand. John, you actually just dropped off Dr. Gold for her 60-day sentence. Tell me about the events that have led up to this, and most importantly, how the doctor is feeling upon watching her freedoms go away for doing absolutely nothing wrong.
Well, Dr. Gina, thank you for allowing me to come on and share this story of freedrgold.org, which is a very somber moment, obviously, right now. The empty seat right next to me was where Dr. Gold was sitting just moments ago. And so she left the Bureau of Prisons. I'm sure you've informed your audience, and they're more or less aware that the J6 event overall is full of a lot of dishonesty and just really destructive events. And so a lot of people are caught up in that. But of course, Dr. Gold, her mission is always truth. Her mission is always defending the innocent, protecting Americans with truthful information so that they can provide for their own health and their own security. And so, of course, she was doing exactly that on January 5th and on January 6th, as you mentioned. So the general story there, I think people hopefully are aware. But right now what's going on is people that continue to tell the truth, even when it's inconvenient for those in power, and they try to silence those truth tellers. If they persist in telling the truth, they are targeted and they are attacked and they are punished and they are silenced. And that's certainly what's going on right now. But Dr. Gold wants you to know you can track every element of this story at freedrgold.org. And it's a mission not just to, of course, restore justice for Dr. Gold, but to highlight that political persecution is alive and well in America. It's a totally un-American thing. It's a feature of banana republics, and it's being inflicted on certain truth tellers in this country.
No question, John. What was her demeanor as you dropped her off and she went in?
It was mixed. Of course, the situation right now, when it gets that real, is difficult. It's not comfortable. She had moments of certainly not feeling excited about what's going on, and frustration and sorrow, mostly for the injustice of the situation, not only for her personally, but for the injustice that's being inflicted on so many Americans, J6 and otherwise. But she was also joyful, surrounded by her team as always, and confident, knowing that God knows her heart and her righteousness and her innocence. And she knows her calling is to continue bringing truth to the American people, no matter how hard the government or anyone else tries to silence her. And she will be back stronger than ever in 2 months. And so she was in overall good spirits.
Yeah, because that's what this is really all about. We know why the book was thrown at Dr. Gold. It isn't because she entered the Capitol on January 6th. There are a lot of people who did the same thing who are not going to prison. We know the real reason is because they want to send a message to other doctors that it is not okay to question the overlords in Washington, D.C. And this is a warning to others: stay in line or the same fate will be fallen upon you. And she is really just a scapegoat. Yes. She is the example they're trying to make to threaten other doctors. And I've told her before, I've told you before, my own personal doctor had his license suspended for prescribing hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin when it was saving lives and there were no other therapeutics available. And we knew those things were relatively safe, especially compared to the things people were being prescribed. But they don't want people to be able, they don't want doctors to be able to honor their Hippocratic oath of first do no harm. They want doctors to fall in line with them and worry that they are next by using Dr. Gold as an example. And I can't help but think, you know, I noticed one thing quickly early on. You know, I was banned from flying on January 7th for my involvement in January 6th, which included reporting from in front of, far in front of, thousands of feet in front of the Capitol, never ever going anywhere near the Capitol, but doing my job essentially. And I noticed that a lot of the other people who are on the no-fly list, like me, and that's a terror watch list, by the way, happen to be Black and Jewish.
Correct.
And I can't help but notice a pattern here. I wondered if Dr. Gold had any thoughts on the fact that she's Jewish and the fact that this happened to her, along with a lot of other Jewish brothers and sisters and a lot of Black people.
So Dr. Gold is fiercely proud of her Jewish heritage and being the daughter of a Holocaust survivor. Dr. Gold and I have both been placed on a terrorist watch list, as you mentioned, and restricted from travel as a result of these events. I don't know about the targeting of certain groups as far as that goes, but certainly what we've noticed is that anyone that isn't complying with the government narrative, anyone that insists on exercising their First Amendment right to free speech is being targeted for that exact activity. And that relates to, of course, Dr. Gold was fired years past for prescribing safe FDA-approved medications to save people's lives, which of course is her job as a doctor, and then was further persecuted for exercising her First Amendment right to speak about medical freedom, which is what she continues to do and will continue to do. So yes, all of this is a tool of terror by those in power that want to silence anyone that doesn't get in line and follow their prescription. But their prescription has been proven completely untrustworthy. It's based on lies and deception. And the American people are sovereign. They have the God-given right to determine their own future and to take their own steps. And so America's Frontline Doctors, freedrgold.org, these are all missions to bring forth truth to the American people so that they can take care of their own health and choose their own path in life, as is their right. And that's Dr. Gold's right, but that's been restricted right now, of course.
Yeah, and it seems like when it becomes convenient, that's exactly when they decide to use these things. I know there was a gentleman running for governor in Michigan who's a known conservative, a Black man. He was present at the January 6th event. To my knowledge, he didn't even go in the Capitol. All of a sudden, they decided they wanted him off the ballot, so they used that he was at January 6th to get him off the ballot. This can be on, and he was a known conservative. They don't want him running in that race because he had probably the support of the America First types. And so this is an ongoing thing that they will use at their convenience, really, to shut people up and to censor Americans and to save them and to really preclude people from being able to move about the country, taking away a very fundamental constitutional right. It certainly impacted my work. I can't go anywhere unless I can drive. I'm sure it's very much impacted your and Dr. Gold's work. What is your message? What is Dr. Gold's message to patriots who look at January 6th and say, you know what, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm not going to make any waves. I'm not going to cause any problems, especially to doctors out there who have put bowing to tyrants before maintaining honor in their own field of medicine?
Right. So Dr. Gold's message is simple. The Constitution is our foundation. It is our shield. It must be defended at every corner, at every turn. And so the enemy, of course, wants to use fear and intimidation, and now they're weaponizing the government in their to their ends. But they want to silence people, and they want to attack people with the fear of retaliation so that they won't exercise their constitutional rights and they'll get in line.
Right.
And so the message is simple. If you surrender your rights, they will be taken and you won't get them back. If you acquiesce to fear, then you will remain afraid and you will be controlled, and you will not be able to carry forward and to advance. So our message at freedrgold.org is that political persecution is being weaponized against all of us, and the response is to know the truth and to continue to speak it publicly, as is our right and our duty.
Yeah. Well, I know that you will give Dr. Gold our best, and I know that our audience will want to go to freedrgold.org. Gold is spelled just like the metal, precious metal. It's a great, honestly, great illustration of the kind of heart we're talking about in this amazing, compassionate doctor who's fighting for the freedom of all of us. freedrgold.org. John Strand, Communications Director at America's Frontline Doctors. Thank you all. I can't thank you enough for standing up for our freedom and for bearing the brunt of so much of it. Thank you, John.
Dr. Gina, thank you so much, and God bless you and your audience, and God bless America.
And God bless you both as well.